The massive alien ship appeared on a quiet Tuesday morning. It came without warning, hanging over Seoul like a dark cloud. Do Young was drinking his morning coffee in his office at the Korean Aerospace Research Institute when the world changed forever. "Sir, you need to see this," his assistant said, running into his office. The young engineer looked up from his computer and saw the strange shape through his window. His coffee cup slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. Within hours, the aliens made their first contact. They called themselves the Galactic Council, a group of advanced species that ruled most of the known universe. They spoke perfect Earth languages and acted very friendly. Too friendly, thought Du Young. "We bring humanity a gift," the alien ambassador announced on all TV channels. "A warship from our fleet. We hope it will help Earth join the galactic community." Do Young watched the broadcast with Jae-yun, the military strategist who had just arrived from the Defense Ministry. She frowned at the screen, her eyes narrow with suspicion. "They're giving us a warship, just like that?" Jae-yun asked. "There must be a catch." The gift arrived the next day. It was smaller than the ambassador's ship, and even Du Young, with his limited experience with alien technology, could see something was wrong. The ship's hull was damaged in several places. Its engines looked old and worn out. Parts of its weapon systems were clearly missing. "This is not a gift," Du Young said as he walked around the ship in the huge hangar they had cleared for it. "This is an insult." Jae-yun nodded, running her hand along the ship's cold metal surface. "They think we're too primitive to even notice how broken it is, or too stupid to fix it." The Galactic Council representatives watched them from a distance, their tall, slim figures barely hiding their amusement. One of them whispered something, and the others made a sound that might have been laughter. Do Young felt anger rising in his chest. He had spent 15 years designing spacecraft engines. He had 3 fades, and now these aliens were laughing at him, at all humans, like they were children playing with toys. "Let them laugh," he said quietly to Jae-yun. "They don't know humans very well, do they?" Jae-yun smiled, but her eyes remained serious. "We should form a team. The best engineers, scientists, and military experts we can find. But we need to be careful. We don't want the council to know what we're really doing." That evening, they called their first meeting. Du Young brought Hansol, the best quantum physicist in Korea, and Ta-won, who had designed weapons systems for 20 years. Jae-yun invited experts in materials science, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology. They gathered in a small conference room, away from the alien ship and the council's watching eyes. Du Young stood at the front of the room, looking at the determined faces before him. "The council thinks they're mocking us with this broken ship," he said. "They expect us to fail, to prove we're not ready for their advanced technology." He paused, making eye contact with each person in the room. "But we're going to prove them wrong. We're not going to just fix their ship. We're going to make it better than anything they've ever seen." The room was quiet for a moment. Then Hansol spoke up. "The quantum drive is damaged, but I think I see ways to improve it that the council might not have thought of." "The weapon systems aren't just broken," Ta-won added. "They're outdated. We could replace them with something completely new." One by one, each expert found problems they could solve, weaknesses they could turn into strengths. The excitement in the room grew with each new idea. As the meeting ended, Jae-yun stood beside Du Young, watching their team leave with new energy in their steps. "You know what the council's biggest mistake was?" she asked. Du Young looked at her questioningly. "They thought giving us broken technology would discourage us," she smiled. "They don't understand that humans do their best work when someone tells them something's impossible." Looking out the window at the alien ship sitting in the hangar, Du Young nodded. The council had meant to shame humanity with their gift. Instead, they had given humans exactly what they needed: a challenge. "Let's get to work," he said. "We have a universe to surprise." The Korean Aerospace Research Institute became a hive of activity. 1 week after receiving the broken ship, Du Young's team worked around the clock. They kept their most important work hidden from the Galactic Council's watching eyes. Han Sol, the quantum drive expert, sat in his lab surrounded by complex diagrams. He hadn't slept properly in 3 days, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "Du Young, come look at this," he called out as the project leader walked past his door. "The aliens think this quantum drive is broken beyond repair. But look here." He pointed to a detailed scan of the engine core. "They built it to work in only one way, if we change our approach completely." Do Young leaned closer to the screen. His eyes widened as he understood what Han Sol was suggesting. "You want to rebuild it from scratch, using our own ideas?" "Exactly." Han Sol smiled. "They expect us to try fixing it their way. But what if we do it our way instead?" In another part of the facility, Taiwan worked on the ship's weapon systems. He had spent days studying the damaged weapons, understanding how they worked, or how they were supposed to work. "The Council's weapons are powerful but simple," he explained to Jia-yun during their daily meeting. "They rely on brute force. But we can make them smarter." He showed her his designs for a new targeting system that would make the weapons more accurate and use less energy. The council representatives visited every day, watching with barely hidden smiles as the humans worked on their gift. They expected to see frustration and failure. Instead, they saw constant activity and determination. It made them uncomfortable, though they tried not to show it. One morning, a council member approached Du Young. "We notice you are making many changes to the ship," he said. His voice was smooth, but held a hint of worry. "Perhaps you would like our guidance to avoid mistakes." Do Young kept his face neutral. "Thank you for your concern," he said politely, "but we prefer to learn through our own efforts." The alien left, looking troubled. As soon as he was gone, Du Young sent a message to his team. "They're getting suspicious. Work faster." In the ship's main hangar, Su-min made an important discovery about the hull's material. She found that when exposed to certain frequencies of energy, the metal could change its properties. The council had never used this ability, perhaps never even knew about it. "We could make the whole ship adapt to different situations," she told Du Young excitedly. "Stronger in battle, faster during escape, more efficient during normal flight." Each day brought new breakthroughs. The team didn't just repair things, they improved them. They found ways to make systems work together that the council had always kept separate. They added their own technology where the alien technology was lacking. The council members watched all this with growing concern. They had expected the humans to fail, to prove they weren't ready for advanced technology. Instead, the humans were doing things with the broken ship that the council had never considered. One evening, after most of the team had gone home, Jia-yun found Du Young still working in his office. "The council is worried," she said, sitting down across from him. "They're starting to realize their mistake." Do Young looked up from his work. "What mistake? Giving us a broken ship?" "No," Jia-yun smiled. "Their mistake was thinking that broken meant useless. They don't understand that humans have been fixing broken things and making them better since the beginning of our history. It's what we do best." Do Young nodded, looking at the latest progress reports from his team. Every day, the ship became less like the council's cast-off and more like something new. Something that combined the best of alien technology with human creativity and determination. "How long until the quantum drive modifications are ready?" Jia-yun asked. Han Sol says 2 more weeks. Du Young stood and walked to his window, looking at the ship in the hangar below. Under the bright lights, he could see teams of workers still busy despite the late hour. 2 weeks until we show the council what humanity can really do. In the darkness outside, a council ship hung in the sky, watching. They had meant their gift to be a joke, a way to put humans in their place. Soon, they would learn that the joke was on them. The warning came on a rainy morning. Nere, a junior member of the Galactic Council, requested a private meeting with Du Young and Jia-yun. They met in a small coffee shop far from the research facility. "The council is concerned," Nere said quietly, looking around to ensure no one was listening. Unlike other council members, her voice carried genuine worry. They have been monitoring your progress. They do not like what they see. We are only repairing the ship they gave us, Du Young replied carefully. Nere shook her head. We both know you are doing much more than that. The council meant the ship to be a test, one they expected you to fail. Now they fear they have made a serious mistake. Jai-yun leaned forward. What kind of mistake? They think they have given primitive creatures tools they should not have. Nere's voice became even softer. There is talk of military intervention. They want to stop your work before it goes too far. Du Young and Jai-yun exchanged glances. They had expected something like this, but not so soon. How long do we have? Jai-yun asked. A few days, maybe a week. Nere stood to leave. I risk much by telling you this, but I believe the council is wrong about humanity. Show them that, please. After she left, Du Young immediately called an emergency meeting. The team gathered in their secure conference room, faces serious as they heard the news. We need to speed up our work, Hansol said, running calculations on his tablet. The quantum drive modifications are almost complete, but we need more time for testing. We don't have time for testing, Taiwan responded. We need to focus on defense systems. If the council attacks, they won't attack immediately, Jai-yun interrupted. They will try to make it look diplomatic first. They'll demand inspections, try to find excuses to shut us down. Su-min spoke up from her corner. The hull transformation is only 60% complete. The nanobots need at least 3 more days. Du Young looked at each team member. They were tired, having worked non-stop for weeks. But he saw determination in their eyes, not fear. We continue as planned, he decided. But we work faster, double shifts, no breaks. Every minute counts now. That afternoon, more council ships appeared in the sky over Seoul. They claimed it was a routine patrol, but everyone knew better. The council was preparing for something. Inside the facility, the team worked with renewed urgency. Yoon-hee's nanobots spread across the ship's hull, transforming it hour by hour. Hansol barely left the quantum drive chamber, fine-tuning his modifications. Taiwan and his weapons team worked in shifts, installing new defense systems. The council demanded daily inspections now. Each time, they looked more closely, asked more questions. But the team was careful. They kept their most important work hidden, showing only what they wanted the council to see. Late one night, Du Young found Jai-yun in the ship's newly completed bridge. She sat in the captain's chair, reviewing security protocols. Will we be ready? He asked, sitting in the chair next to her. We have to be. She turned to face him. The council thinks they're being clever, giving us time to worry, to make mistakes. But every hour they wait is another hour we use to make the ship stronger. Du Young nodded, looking at the bridge's gleaming controls. What had started as a broken wreck was becoming something extraordinary. The ship's systems were already more advanced than anything the council had. And they weren't finished yet. Nere took a great risk warning us, he said. We can't waste that warning. We won't. Jai-yun's voice was firm. The council wanted to teach us a lesson about our place in the galaxy. Instead, we'll teach them one. Never underestimate humans when their backs are against the wall. Outside, the council ships circled like vultures, their presence a constant reminder of the approaching confrontation. But inside the facility, humanity's response to their challenge grew stronger by the hour. The race against time had begun, and failure was not an option. The warning came on a rainy morning. Nere, a junior member of the Galactic Council, requested a private meeting with Du Young and Jai-yun. They met in a small coffee shop far from the research facility. The council is concerned, Nere said quietly, looking around to ensure no one was listening. Unlike other council members, her voice carried genuine worry. They have been monitoring your progress. They do not like what they see. We are only repairing the ship they gave us. Du Young replied carefully. Nere shook her head. We both know you are doing much more than that. The council meant the ship to be a test, one they expected you to fail. Now they fear they have made a serious mistake. Jai Yun leaned forward. What kind of mistake? They think they have given primitive creatures tools they should not have. Nere's voice became even softer. There is talk of military intervention. They want to stop your work before it goes too far. Do Young and Jai Yun exchanged glances. They had expected something like this, but not so soon. How long do we have? Jai Yun asked. A few days, maybe a week. Nere stood to leave. I risk much by telling you this, but I believe the council is wrong about humanity. Show them that, please. After she left, Du Young immediately called an emergency meeting. The team gathered in their secure conference room, faces serious as they heard the news. We need to speed up our work, Han Sol said, running calculations on his tablet. The quantum drive modifications are almost complete, but we need more time for testing. We don't have time for testing, Taiwan responded. We need to focus on defense systems. If the council attacks, they won't attack immediately, Jai Yun interrupted. They will try to make it look diplomatic first. They'll demand inspections, try to find excuses to shut us down. Su Min spoke up from her corner. The hull transformation is only 60% complete. The nanobots need at least 3 more days. Do Young looked at each team member. They were tired, having worked non-stop for weeks. But he saw determination in their eyes, not fear. We continue as planned, he decided. But we work faster, double shifts, no breaks. Every minute counts now. That afternoon, more council ships appeared in the sky over Seoul. They claimed it was a routine patrol, but everyone knew better. The council was preparing for something. Inside the facility, the team worked with renewed urgency. Yoon Hee's nanobots spread across the ship's hull, transforming it hour by hour. Han Sol barely left the quantum drive chamber, fine-tuning his modifications. Taiwan and his weapons team worked in shifts, installing new defense systems. The council demanded daily inspections now. Each time, they looked more closely, asked more questions. But the team was careful. They kept their most important work hidden, showing only what they wanted the council to see. Late one night, Du Young found Jai Yun in the ship's newly completed bridge. She sat in the captain's chair, reviewing security protocols. Will we be ready? He asked, sitting in the chair next to her. We have to be. She turned to face him. The council thinks they're being clever, giving us time to worry, to make mistakes. But every hour they wait is another hour we use to make the ship stronger. Do Young nodded, looking at the bridge's gleaming controls. What had started as a broken wreck was becoming something extraordinary. The ship's systems were already more advanced than anything the council had. And they weren't finished yet. Nere took a great risk warning us, he said. We can't waste that warning. We won't. Jai Yun's voice was firm. The council wanted to teach us a lesson about our place in the galaxy. Instead, we'll teach them one. Never underestimate humans when their backs are against the wall. Outside, the council ships circled like vultures, their presence a constant reminder of the approaching confrontation. But inside the facility, humanity's response to their challenge grew stronger by the hour. The race against time had begun, and failure was not an option. Min Ho stared at his computer screen, his eyes wide with disbelief. The young physicist had been studying the ship's energy matrix for weeks, and now, at 3 in the morning, he finally understood something incredible. He ran to find Du Young, who was still working in his office despite the late hour. Sir, you need to see this right now, Min Ho said, trying to catch his breath. Do Young followed him to the energy lab. On the main screen, complex patterns of light showed the ship's power flow. Look here, Min Ho pointed. The council designed the energy matrix to work in a straight line, Power goes from point A to point B. But what if we make it work in a circle instead? Do Young leaned closer. You mean make the energy feed back into itself? Yes, but with a twist. Min Ho pulled up another diagram. If we combine it with the adaptive hull material Sumin discovered, we can create an endless energy loop. The ship won't just use power, it will generate more power as it works. This news was so important that Du Young called an emergency meeting despite the early hour. As the team gathered, Jinna, the AI systems engineer, arrived with her own breakthrough. I think I can make this even better, she said, connecting her computer to the main screen. I've developed an AI system that can control Min Ho's energy loop. It will know exactly how much power to generate and where to send it. The team watched as Jinna demonstrated her AI system using a simulation. The artificial intelligence learned and adapted instantly, managing power flows more efficiently than any human could. If we combine all our improvements, the adaptive hull, the enhanced quantum drive, the new weapons, this energy system, and the AI, we'll have something completely new, Hansol said. Something the Council has never seen before. They worked through the night, integrating their discoveries. The ship was no longer just a repaired alien vessel. It was becoming a perfect blend of human innovation and alien technology. As morning approached, they prepared to test the new systems. The Council's ships still circled overhead, watching, but they didn't know what was happening inside the facility. All systems ready, Jinna announced from her control station. Starting the energy matrix now. Everyone held their breath as the ship powered up. The hull began to glow softly, its surface rippling like water as the nanobots worked. The quantum drive hummed to life, its sound deeper and steadier than any Council ship. Energy loop stable, Min Ho reported, watching his instruments. Power output at 200% of Council standard, 300%, 400%. The AI system managed the growing power perfectly, distributing it throughout the ship. The adaptive hull absorbed and channeled the excess energy, growing stronger. Even the weapons systems began to evolve, becoming more precise and powerful. It's working better than we hoped, Du Young said quietly. The ship isn't just running, it's improving itself. Jia-yun smiled as she watched the readings. The Council gave us a broken ship thinking we would fail. Instead, we've created something they never imagined possible. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Council ships were descending from orbit, more than they had ever seen before. They must have detected the power signature, Ta-Won said, checking the defensive systems. They know something's happening. Do-Young looked at his team. They were tired but proud. In just a few weeks, they had done what the Council thought was impossible. They had taken a broken ship and turned it into something revolutionary. How long until all systems are fully operational? He asked. The AI needs 2 more hours to finish integrating with the ship's systems, Jinna replied. After that, everything will be ready. The Council won't wait 2 hours, Jia-yun warned. They're coming to stop us now. Do-Young straightened his shoulders, looking at the magnificent ship they had created. Then we'll have to work faster. Humanity has come too far to fail now. Outside, the Council ships grew closer, their weapons charging. The final race against time had begun. The Council ships descended from the sky like angry wasps. 7 massive warships, their weapons glowing with power, surrounded the research facility. Inside the facility, red warning lights flashed everywhere. Captain Sung Min arrived at the ship's bridge, moving quickly to his command chair. As the most experienced space pilot in Korea's military, he had been chosen to command the modified ship if they ever needed to fly it. That time had come sooner than expected. Status report, he ordered, looking at his crew. Each person had trained for weeks on their modified systems, but none had expected to use them in real combat so soon. Hull transformation is at 92%, Hai-jin reported from the tactical station. The young officer's fingers moved quickly over her controls. Weapons are ready, but the AI targeting system needs 15 more minutes to fully integrate. We don't have 15 minutes, Sung Min said as the main screen showed more council ships appearing. Where are Du Young and Jia Yun? Here. Du Young called as he and Jia Yun ran onto the bridge. The quantum drive is ready, but Min Ho's energy matrix is still stabilizing. The facility's communication system crackled to life. The council's message was clear and cold. Humans, power down your systems immediately. Your experiment ends now. This is not a request. They're charging weapons, Hai Jin announced. 10 enemy ships now in range. Jia Yun took her place at the Strategic Operations Station. They won't fire yet. They want to take the ship intact. All stations, report readiness, Sung Min ordered. Engineering ready. Han Sol's voice came through the communication system. Quantum drive at 80% and rising. Weapons ready, Ta Wan reported. New targeting systems are basic but functional. Hull integrity strong, Su Min added. Nanobots are working faster than expected. The threat seems to be making them more efficient. Jinnah spoke from her AI control station. The artificial intelligence is adapting to the combat situation. It's learning from the council ship's energy signatures. The council's voice came again. This is your final warning. Power down, or we will be forced to take action. Sung Min looked at Du Young. Can we fight? We're not fully ready, Du Young admitted. But we're stronger than they think. The question is, do we reveal everything we've done, or try to bluff our way out? Before anyone could answer, one of the council ships fired a warning shot. The energy beam passed close to the facility, leaving a scorch mark on the ground. No more time for discussion. Jia Yun said, we need to launch now. Sung Min nodded. All hands, prepare for emergency launch. Engineering, give us everything you can. The modified ship's engines came to life with a deep hum that was nothing like the high-pitched whine of council ships. The facility's roof opened slowly, revealing the night sky filled with hostile vessels. Council ships are moving to blocking positions, Hai Jin reported. They're trying to box us in. Let them try, Sung Min said calmly. Jinnah, is the AI ready for evasive maneuvers? Yes, but its combat protocols are still basic. Basic will have to do. Sung Min straightened in his chair. All stations, stand by. We're about to show the council what humanity can do with a broken ship. The ship rose smoothly from the facility, its hull gleaming with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The council ships immediately surrounded them. Weapons charge. This is your last chance, the council commander announced. Surrender the ship or face the consequences. Sung Min looked at his crew. Despite their fear, he saw determination in every face. They had worked too hard to give up now. Send them our reply, he ordered. Jia Yun opened a channel and spoke clearly. The consequences of underestimating humanity are about to become very clear. The council ships moved closer, preparing to fire. The real test of humanity's ingenuity was about to begin. The first council ship fired. A bright beam of energy shot toward the modified human vessel. Everyone on the bridge held their breath. The beam hit their hull, and something remarkable happened. The adaptive material created by Su Min's nanobots didn't just absorb the attack. It learned from it. The hull glowed briefly, then strengthened itself. Hull integrity at 110%. Su Min reported with amazement. The nanobots are using the enemy's energy to make our defenses stronger. Captain Sung Min didn't waste the moment of surprise. Tactical, target the nearest ship. Show them our improvements. Hai Jin activated their new weapon system. The modified ship's response wasn't the simple energy beam the council expected. Instead, a complex pattern of energy pulses struck the enemy vessel, each hit precisely calculated by Jinnah's eye. The council ship's shields flickered and failed. It wasn't destroyed, but it was clear their weapons had surprised them. The AI is analyzing their shield frequencies, Jinnah reported excitedly. Each shot teaches it more about their defenses. The council ships regrouped quickly. 3 vessels moved to surround the human ship, while others maintained distance and charged their main weapons. "They're trying to trap us," Jai-yun observed from her strategic station. "They still think we're flying a regular council ship." Some men smiled slightly. "Let's show them how wrong they are." Hansol engaged the quantum drive. The modified quantum drive activated with a deep pulse that shook space itself. Instead of moving in the straight lines that council ships used, their vessel twisted space around itself in a new way. They disappeared from between the council ships and reappeared behind their formation. "Impossible." The council commander's voice showed clear shock. "How did you alter the quantum mechanics?" "That's not all we altered," Du Young responded through the communication channel. "Minho, activate the energy matrix." Minho engaged his revolutionary power system. The ship's hull began to pulse with growing energy. Each pulse made their ship stronger, faster, more powerful. The council ships attacked again, this time all at once. But their ship was ready. The adaptive hull absorbed some attacks, while Jinnah's AI helped them dodge others. Their return fire was precise and effective, disrupting the council ship's formation. "Energy levels at 500% of council standard," Minho reported proudly. "The Matrix is turning their attacks into more power for our systems." The battle continued, but it wasn't the quick victory the council had expected. Their ships were more numerous and traditionally more powerful, but they were fighting something they didn't understand. A ship that could learn, adapt, and grow stronger during battle. "Their formation is breaking," Haijin reported. 3 ships have significant damage. They're falling back." The council commander's voice came again, but this time it carried a note of fear. "What have you done to that ship? This is not possible." "You gave us a broken ship," Jai-yun responded calmly. "We fixed it. Then we made it better. This is what humans do." As if to prove her point, their ship performed another impossible maneuver. The quantum drive combined with the energy matrix created a new kind of space distortion. They moved in ways the council had never seen, their attacks coming from unexpected angles. More council ships began to retreat. Their weapons, designed to fight known enemies, proved less effective with each passing minute. The human ship's AI learned from every exchange, improving their tactics and defenses constantly. Finally, the council commander spoke again. "Stand down all weapons. We request a discussion." The bridge crew looked at each other with pride. They had done it. Using human ingenuity and determination, they had turned a broken ship into something that could challenge the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. "Should we accept their request?" some men asked, looking at Du Young and Jai-yun. "Yes," Du Young replied, "but not as inferior beings receiving instructions. This time, we meet as equals." The modified ship, now glowing with power and possibility, faced the remaining council vessels. The balance of power in the galaxy had changed forever. 1 month after the battle, the Korean Aerospace Research Institute hosted an unusual meeting. Representatives from 20 different alien species sat in the main conference room, watching Du Young's presentation with great interest. "The council told us this ship couldn't be fixed," Du Young explained, standing next to holographic displays of their modifications. "They were right. We didn't fix it. We transformed it." The aliens whispered among themselves as Du Young showed them the ship's new capabilities. Many of them had also received gifts of broken technology from the council over the years. None had thought to change the technology so completely. Jai-yun stood next, addressing the gathered representatives. "The council used broken ships to keep emerging species dependent on them. But we're offering something different. We will share what we've learned with all of you." Nere, who had warned them about the council's attack, now served as Earth's official liaison to other species. She smiled as she watched the excitement spread through the room. In the facility's main hangar, their ship, now named Phoenix, stood as proof of human ingenuity. Its hull gleamed with a light that seemed to come from within, the nanobots constantly improving its structure. The quantum drive had evolved far beyond its original design, and Jinnah's AI had grown more sophisticated with each passing day. "Your offer is generous," one alien representative said, "but the Council still holds much power. They will not like this sharing of technology." "The Council's power came from keeping others dependent," Du Young replied. "That time is over. Together, we can all grow stronger." Su Min and Yumhee had already begun teaching other species about their nanobot technology. Han Sol shared his quantum drive modifications with eager scientists from 3 different worlds. Even Minho's energy matrix design was being adapted for use by other species. "We're not just sharing technology," Jai Yun explained to the gathered representatives. "We're sharing a way of thinking. The Council believes in fixed paths and absolute rules. Humanity believes in finding new ways forward." Outside the facility, construction had begun on a new international space center. Earth's governments had united in an unprecedented way, pooling their resources to build more ships using the Phoenix's innovations. Captain Sung Min and Hai Jin now led a program teaching pilots from various species how to operate the new hybrid technology. The sight of dozens of alien creatures learning to fly ships with human innovations would have seemed impossible just months ago. "The Council thought giving us a broken ship would prove our weakness," Du Young said, concluding the presentation. "Instead, it proved something else, that the greatest strength isn't in having perfect tools, but in knowing how to improve imperfect ones." After the meeting, Du Young found Jai Yun in their old conference room, where they had first planned their modifications to the ship. "Did you ever think that broken ship would lead to all this?" he asked. Jai Yun smiled, looking at the pictures on the wall showing their progress from broken wreck to revolutionary vessel. "The Council never understood something important about humans," she said. "We don't just adapt to overcome challenges. We grow stronger because of them." Through the window, they could see Phoenix rising for another test flight. Its hull caught the sunlight, sending rainbow patterns across the sky. The ship that was meant to humble humanity had instead become a symbol of hope for species across the galaxy. "What's next?" Du Young asked, watching the ship's graceful movement. "We keep innovating," Jai Yun replied. "We keep teaching. We show the galaxy that the future belongs to those who aren't afraid to try new things." As if in response, Phoenix performed a maneuver that should have been impossible, twisting space in ways the Council had never imagined. Above it, ships from a dozen worlds practiced similar moves, their crews learning that anything was possible if you were willing to think differently. The Council's gift had changed the galaxy forever, just not in the way they had intended. A new era had begun, one where innovation and cooperation would replace control and dependence. And it all started with a broken ship, and the humans who saw in it not an insult, but an opportunity.